Hello everybody, this is Danny and Wanda from Deep South Homestead.
We are at our cabin and we're going to start our cabin build here on YouTube. Our patrons over on Patreon have been seeing this build for what? Since February.
Since February, yes.
So we're going to start transitioning some of those videos over so that you guys get to see some of what we've been doing for the last 6 months.
Now let me tell you a little bit about the journey. Wanda and I, several years ago, decided that we wanted a cabin. We first looked at land in lots of different places. You know, we thought maybe we wanted to build it off away from our homestead and all this kind of stuff. But as time would progress, we realized that that just was not going to be feasible. And there's many reasons why. One, we would always have to be away from the homestead if we was working on the cabin, and we would only get to work on it on the weekends. And then that meant we was away from the homestead. Nobody was here to take care of animals. Secondly, if we took material to a job site somewhere, more than likely somebody's going to take it. Because nobody's there. Because we would want something remote. And gates don't stop people now. Because they got four-wheelers and all this kind of stuff. They just go around through the woods and go take what they want. So we finally come to the conclusion, why not just look on our own property and
put something over here?
So that's what we did. We looked. We found what we thought was a perfect location. We would go around and see where the sun was at, where the wind was at, you know, all the things that we liked. What position would we put the cabin in? We'd come up with a cabin design.
Yeah, airflow was very important here in Mississippi. Yeah, that was the biggest thing here.
Yeah.
The heat and the humidity.
This morning is a perfect example. It's so hot.
Yeah, y'all see us doing this.
We're sitting here sweating just sitting here.
And why off-grid? Mainly because we just did not want to, we want power.
Right.
We just did not want a power line coming to the back of our property.
We don't want them to have to cut a right-of-way through our property and then have access through our property and all this kind of stuff, so we decided to build it on the back side of the property.
And go solar.
And go.
We do have to have fans.
We do have to have fans. You know, we have, of course, our fans aren't out here this morning, but
we have to have some airflow.
We got to have airflow to do this kind of stuff, guys. Yeah. To start with, we decided maybe we wanted to do a shed because we looked on YouTube at lots of people doing these storage sheds, converting them over into houses.
And we thought that was the quickest, easiest way to do something.
Well, we thought it was the cheapest way.
Yeah. And we looked at these buildings.
Guys.
As a construction guy,
no,
they're not safe.
They're not anything. I mean,
for living.
For living permanently.
Temporary's okay.
If you're a weekend place or temporarily till you get a house built, yeah, that's fine. But to live in permanently, no. And
we weren't really thinking at that point living permanently. We were thinking something to come over here, relax, chill. So we thought, okay, that might be a possibility.
It was a possibility. We went and looked.
We looked at several.
Yeah, I mean, we give it a benefit of the doubt. We went and looked. Then we went to our code office after we did because we're under international code here. And then a lot of the codes are, some of them are kind of silly. Some are good because we're in hurricane zones. But some of them are just outright stupid, if you ask me. But after talking to the code officer and looking at what Wanda and I really wanted, we really wanted the traditional cabin look with the steep roof, the porch coming off, the chimney on one end.
We couldn't do that with the building.
Not with a shed.
Not the already built shed. So we asked about them coming and building on site and more to our specifications. They gave us a price and we decided that's just a little bit much. So we talked about just saving the money for them and Danny building it with my help. It took us a year and a half.
Well, we first decided to go ahead and put the foundation in because, look, you got to start. If you don't ever start, you'll never start. I mean, we didn't have the money to build it, but we said, you know what, it's a block concrete foundation. It's not going to hurt anything if it sits there for 2 or 3 years, you know. So Wanda and I came over, drove the batter boards, and she and I dug holes and mixed concrete. And
we're going to put that video up, and we're going to put that video up in the links, and that was 2 years ago,
2 years ago, yeah.
Sometimes you just got to be patient.
Yeah.
And we worked on that, let it sit for a year and a half.
Yeah. Saving our money.
In February of this year, 2019, we decided, hey, it's time.
It's time. We had the money to black it in. So we decided, you know what? Let's go for it. And so what we done was we deal with basically 3 different companies. We have our 2 locals here. We have Alexander Hardware and Jack's Building Supply here locally that we patronize. And then we do buy some things through Home Depot because sometimes they have deals that's just too good to pass up when it comes to building material.
Yes. And so we ordered our first material, came Valentine's Day. And we got it here, had a few little bumps along the way. It didn't get here till late, almost dark
when it got here. We're talking about an 18-wheeler load of lumber.
So Loretta was really a trooper. She took and unloaded in, it was almost dark. By the time she left, it was dark. She was weaving her way with 16-foot lumber through trees and stuff because this is at the back of our property. And Danny only put like a 17-foot opening.
It's not much.
In between tree and tree. And she got the first load over here. The second 2 loads she dumped in our yard so we could put some under a shed. And then we
had to sort it out because in order to build something, your material has to be laid out in the order in which you're going to use it. And it didn't come stacked that way. So we had to, Wanda and I had to hand stack all this stuff in the order in which we were going to use it, which
in the dark.
Took us till about 10:30 at night, on a cold night at that.
In February. And one load that we were bringing over here about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night was plywood. And our ground is not level.
No, we live on hills.
And Danny come down that hill trying to ease down, hit a bump, and it slid off in the dirt.
Yep.
We had to pick all that plywood up and bring it over here and then restack it.
And restack it again.
So, you know, it was a crazy night.
It was a challenge that night. But we were glad to have it because we were ready to start. We had to make sure everything was covered because we didn't want our material to get wet because we had some rain coming.
So we had a lot to do that night. Then we started the build.
We did. We came over, and this is the most important part of the build. It took us quite a while that day, and basically all we did was put down the sill plates. Okay guys, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull a diagonal square. Our cabin is 16 by 32. The diagonal should be 35 foot 9 inches. That's what we're looking for on this diagonal. So we're going to take 100-foot tape and that's what we're going to do. 35 foot 9 5/16 of an inch to be perfect. Believe it or not, we're actually perfect. So we're 35 foot 9 5/16 of an inch. That it's amazing that it's actually that perfect still, which means that we can actually just go with our measurements from the edge of our blocks to get our holes to be drilled. So that's actually perfect. Okay guys, what I'm doing now is I'm cutting these boards, all of them exactly 16 feet, because this is a 32 foot. We're going to cut 2 16-foot boards, and then we're going to drill the holes and move on from that point. But first, I got to crank a generator because we're off-grid here. So this is our off-grid cabin build. Okay guys, what we're doing here is we're lining our speed square up with the center of our anchor bolt, and we're putting our line across here. That tells us that's the center of this bolt. We have this flush with the end of the block right here. And we want to make sure our grains are always in the up position like this where they shed water. If we turn this board over, what it does is it creates a cup and it actually holds water, and our lumber will deteriorate over a period of time even though it's treated. So we want to make sure our grains are always up like this. Okay, in order to get this measurement here, we've already got our straight line across the board now. Now we're going to measure from the outside edge of the block, which is 4 15/16 of an inch. So what we're going to do is come here to this line. This is the outside of the board, and we're going to go 4 15/16 of an inch. We're going to put a line there. That's where our drill bit is going to drill. We're going to do that on every board. Block, I mean, on every block. This one is 5 1/4.
Let me get that.
Put your fingers on it now.
There we go. First board. Yes.
All right. We're not going to bolt them just at this point. We're going to get them all on before we actually do any bolting, because we've got to put our termite shields back under them. Guys, it's time. We're going to re-pull our cross measurements, make sure nothing's moved, and if they're okay, we're going to take everything up, put the termite shields down, put the boards back down, and bolt them down. This is the most important part, because if it is not square and it is not level like it's supposed to be, it'll follow you all the way through the whole build. It'll show up in the roof lines. It'll show up in everything. So Wanda and I spent a lot of extra time with 100-foot tape that day, pulling and squaring and crisscross measuring and all this kind of stuff till we finally got this thing like we wanted it within 1/8 of an inch. And guys, from that point on,
we've been going.
It's been rock and rolling. I mean,
and we did this in February because here in South Mississippi, it is hot and humid from about May until nearly the end of September. So it's really hard for Danny and I to work in the heat. So we started in February hoping to beat the heat, have it framed in before it got hot, and we did.
We did that,
We got to the point we wanted to get to by the end of, maybe April?
Probably by the end of April we had it black. Well, the gathering, it was, at the gathering in March, all the walls were up, we just didn't have the roof on it. The rafters were up, we just didn't have the roof on it.
Yes, and by the end of April,
we had the roof on it.
Yeah, we had everything like that done, and we thought we would just chill till the end of the summer.
And we figured we wouldn't get much more done, but then again, you know, we started.
God's blessed us with
God has
nice,
been good. God, He's been good to us. I mean,
very
financially,
nice weather.
It's been good, but financially, we struggled through it. You know, we've added a little bit here and a little bit there.
We're doing a little along. Danny's built things to save us money. We've used stuff he's had in his shop because he was a carpenter, and he stored every piece of wood everywhere for many years.
Many years
so
I've had stuff.
we're cleaning the shop out somewhat, and we already had the fireplace because it was in our house and we took it out. All this stuff saved us a lot of money, already having this stuff in place and ready to go. It was almost like we were waiting on the cabin.
Yeah.
We've just been stashing for a long time. And so now we're using that stuff up. And we've been blessed to be able to come over here. We've spent a few nights here. Danny built a bed. So we have this stuff in place. God's give us some nice, cool nights.
Had some cool nights. It has.
This time of year in July, we usually have 100-degree nights. I mean,
yeah, it's usually so bad at night, but it dropped down to the mid 60s.
Yeah,
and which was perfect.
And we had several nights we've been able to stay, so that gives us our mini vacation, and that's what we wanted.
That's what we really wanted, was a place just to go chill out. Now we're in the process now of insulating it. We've gotten far enough along that we're insulating it. It's already wired, and we're insulating it.
So we're going to take you along. Even though our patrons have seen all this process since February, and we're going to continue on Patreon to show our patrons what we're doing.
Up to date.
Up to date. They stay up to date. They see within a few days of what we're doing. Usually day to day what we're doing.
Almost day to day, yeah.
We put some kind of something up showing them. But this is going to go back to February, and we're going to work our way through a few videos. We didn't film the whole thing. We've lost some clips. We've lost, we forgot to video
the battery
stuff.
Ran out one time on the camera right in the middle of something, and when you're working, you just know the camera's out running. It's supposed to be running, and we looked, and it wasn't.
And Danny comes over here and does things that I'm at the house canning or cooking or cleaning. And so there's a lot of it that we did not get done. I took pictures of everything I could take pictures of. So we hope to give you some semblance of what our cabin looks like. And hopefully we're shooting maybe by, Christmas, to have something on some of the outside so you can see what it's going to look like by then.
Yeah, we have, like Wanda said, we've built a few things. We built our bed. Went ahead and built that and put it in there. We built screen doors to go on it so we can have airflow through the cabin, stuff like that. We've got all the windows has been installed. We're at a point now. I mean, we knew this point would come where it was going to have to slow down because the money's run out, and when the money runs out, you just have to do things as you go on because we don't want to go in debt to work on and do this thing. So we've decided. We've
gotten further than we thought. We've been very vigilant with our money. And it's been pretty awesome, and at least we can stay in it, and that was our goal.
That was our goal. We can build a fire if we need to in the wintertime now because that's all finished. It's just we're insulating, and if we can ever get all the insulation done where we can maintain some temperature in it, then the walls and the flooring and the cabinets and all that kind of stuff.
Extra.
That's extra. That'll come down the road. We just want to get it where it's a little bit comfortable so we can come back outside and maybe finish some of the soffit work and finish maybe the water catchment system on the outside and things
that's
like
gonna
that.
be a biggie.
Finish the outside's got to be finished before we can dump a lot of money on the inside. Because I mean that's kind of foolish to go in and completely finish the inside and not do anything to the outside. So
we're gonna do a lot of the outside as we can, real quick. So guys, this is what we've got going on right now. We're showing you the beginning of the cabin build. This is our candy corn cabin, and it became that because I was calling it for a year and a half a candy corn
cottage.
Because I like the name cottage, and so many people said, no, Danny's making it a cabin, not a cottage. So
that's even questionable now.
Yeah, we have the cabin part still, and
people come and they go, I thought you were building a cabin. I said, well, it is a cabin. They go, no, that's a house.
So it's turned into our little mini house on the back. Danny doesn't do anything small. It is a 16 by 32. It's not big, but with the porch and stuff added on, it looks, and the high roof, it looks
high ceilings
awesome.
and the high roof makes it look big.
Our little cabin, which we hope this winter to stay in most of the winter and do a lot of our videos over here.
We're hoping. Yeah.
If everything works out, we have it comfortable enough that we can do 2019 winter here at the cabin.
That's our goal.
So thank you guys from Deep South Homestead.